sent me pictures of myself. And it started right after I opened a dark web forum my friend showed me. He told me it was just old archived threads. Weird stuff, nothing illegal. I didn't really believe him, but that night I checked it out anyway. The site was simple, black background, dozens of threads. Most of them looked dead. Then I clicked one that had no title. There was only a single post, one image. It was a photo of a desk, a messy desk, laptop, coffee mug, loose cables. It took me a second to realize it was mine. Same scratch on the surface, same notebook in the corner. I closed the tab immediately. My first thought was coincidence. Someone with a similar setup. Then my screen flickered. A notification popped up. Unknown sender. No name. Message request. I didn't open it at first. Then another message came in. You saw it? I opened the chat. No profile, no info. Just text. I typed, "Who is this?" The reply came instantly. "You shouldn't have opened that." I felt my stomach drop. I typed, "How do you have that picture?" No response. Then a file appeared in the chat. I hesitated. Then I opened it. It was my room. Taken from the front, facing my desk. I was sitting there, exactly like I was in that moment. Same posture, same lighting. I pushed my chair back and stood up immediately. I checked the door. Locked. I checked the windows. Closed. Nothing. I went back to my laptop. Another message appeared. You didn't notice? Then, check your photos. I froze. Slowly, I picked up my phone. I opened my camera roll. There was a new folder. Recent. Inside it was a photo. Same room, same angle. Taken just minutes ago. I checked the details. It wasn't from my camera. It was uploaded. From iCloud. My chest tightened. I opened my iCloud settings. There was a new device listed. No name, just a generic ID. Last active a few minutes ago. I immediately tried to remove it. Before I could, another message appeared on my laptop. Don't. I stopped. Then, you're already too slow. My hands were shaking. I typed, "What do you want?" A few seconds passed. Then, "Look at your door." I turned slowly. My front door was still closed, but something was off. The latch. It wasn't fully aligned, like it hadn't closed properly. I stood up slowly, took a step forward. Then I heard it. A faint sound from the other side, like someone shifting their weight. I froze. Another message appeared. "Don't open it." I stepped back immediately. My heart was pounding now. I grabbed my keys. Another message. "Wrong door." I stopped. Then I heard something else. Behind me. A quiet movement. From inside my apartment. I turned around fast. Nothing. Everything looked normal. But I knew I had locked the back window earlier. I checked it. It was slightly open. Just enough to fit a hand through. I didn't stay. I grabbed my phone and left. I didn't go back that night. The next morning, I returned with my friend. Everything looked normal. Door locked. Nothing missing. No signs of forced entry. We checked the window. Closed. Locked. Like nothing had happened. My laptop was still on the desk. Open. The chat was gone. No history. Nothing. I checked my phone again. The photos were still there. But now there were more. Not just my room. Pictures of the hallway, the entrance, and one taken from outside, looking directly at my apartment door. Time-stamped. From the night I left, right after I walked out. My webcam turned on while I was working. I noticed it because of the small green light next to the camera. I wasn't in a call. No Zoom, no Discord, nothing. Just a blank desktop. I moved my mouse, thinking maybe something had opened in the background. Nothing changed. The light stayed on. I opened Task Manager. There was a process I didn't recognize using the camera. No name I had ever seen before, just random letters. I ended it. The light turned off. A few seconds later, it turned back on. Same thing. Same unknown process. That's when I felt something was actually wrong. I closed everything and disabled the webcam in the system settings. The light turned off again. Then my browser opened by itself. A single tab. Black background. No URL I recognized. Just a chat box. There was already a message there. You closed it. I didn't type anything. I just stared at it. Another message appeared. Turn it back on. I checked my webcam settings again. Still disabled. I typed, "Who is this?" The response came instantly. I can still access it. I felt my chest tighten. I opened the camera settings again. This time, the webcam suddenly activated, even though it was still disabled. A small preview window opened. It was my room. My desk. Me. I leaned closer to the screen. Everything looked normal, until I noticed the angle. It wasn't exactly how my camera usually looked. Slightly lower, like it had been adjusted. I hadn't touched it. A new message appeared. Better. I immediately grabbed the webcam and pointed it toward the wall. The preview updated. Now it showed the wall. Then another message. Turn it back. A few seconds passed. Then my speakers made a quiet click, like a microphone turning on. I muted everything instantly. The chat updated again. That doesn't matter. At that point, I stood up and looked around my apartment. Everything was quiet. Door locked, windows closed. I went back to my desk. Another message appeared. You live alone. I froze. Then, second floor. My stomach dropped. That wasn't information you could guess. I typed, "How do you know that?" No response for a few seconds. Then, check your network. I opened my Wi-Fi settings. There was an unfamiliar device connected to my network. No name, just a string of numbers. I had never seen it before. Another message. Don't disconnect it. I immediately blocked the device. The connection disappeared. The chat froze. No new messages. For a moment, everything went quiet. I thought maybe that was it. Then my laptop froze. Completely unresponsive. After a few seconds, it restarted on its own. When it booted back up, the webcam light turned on again. Even before I logged in, I didn't touch anything. The login screen just sat there, camera on. Then, after I logged in, my desktop loaded. There was a new folder, right in the center. No name. I didn't remember creating it. I opened it. Inside were video files, dozens of them, all recorded from my webcam. Different times, different angles. Some from earlier that evening. Some from days ago. And some from moments I didn't remember being at my desk. Then I saw one file that stood out. It was recorded just a few minutes earlier. I opened it. It showed my desk, my chair, my room. But I wasn't sitting there. The chair was empty. The camera was on. And in the reflection of my dark monitor, you could see someone standing behind it. I don't remember standing there. If you're a fan of creepy true stories, feel free to check out my playlist.